Michael Jeffrey Peters. I'm from Houston, Texas. I've uncovered an elaborate scheme to prevent doctors from being sued in courts of law here in Houston, Texas for political favors. Now, when something happens at a hospital, like Texas Children's Hospital, complaint system goes into effect. You file a complaint, and they evaluate it, and if it's serious, they'll just write it off. And then your next step is to go to the Texas Medical Board to complain about the doctor, who in my case had falsified a medical report and faxed it to my wife's attorney to gain custody of my son. And they in turn ignore that. Rick Perry put Irving Ziegler in charge of the Texas Medical Board. In turn, the contributions from the medical center go to Rick Perry's campaign. So now Rick Perry is showing a blind eye so that these doctors can't get lawsuits against them in a court of law, unless you have just thousands and thousands of dollars to go after them. Without the Texas Medical Board doing their job, it closes the doors for these lawsuits and attorneys that are afraid to be sued by these hospitals. So you really have a kind of a closed-door policy when it comes to making complaints. Now, I have conclusive evidence that Texas Children's Hospital and Baylor College of Medicine have joined forces, and even they had attorneys. Both of these hospitals had attorneys at each and every one of my divorce hearings, which lasted over a year. And the reason for it is because they knew that Dr. Zoanne Dreyer lied in my son's medical report after making 2 failed attempts to manipulate CPS. And so they were trying to protect their interests, talking to the prosecutor in Conroe, Texas at the 418th District Court. Judge Tracy Gilbert presides there, who's also a Baylor graduate. Now, I have the evidence. Judge Tracy Gilbert simply ignored every motion that I filed to present this evidence in court. Then after a year, bailed out and put in a retired judge, James Esquire from Hempstead, Texas. Now James, I guess his cut in the deal was to get, he got his own realtor in and sold a $230,000 estate for $103,000. So he was, him and his realtor friend, the Rollins, over at Caldwell Bankers in Waller, Texas, made a quick sale of my my home, my land, where I suspect they lined their own pockets. I haven't had gotten one penny to this date, and this has been over a year and a half. They've stolen my land, my home, my property, and my son through this lie that the doctor told. Now, one thing that this retired judge did do is he scratched out this bit about this medical neglect, and that was the only reason that they had to take my son. Dr. Zoanne E. Dreyer stated that I told her that I did not give my son one of his meds for 1 month out of the 2 months I had him. Contrary to all the other evidence against that. Why would I say something as stupid as that? After she made 2 failed attempts, starting within the first 24 hours, I took my son out of school, which I took him directly out of school to the hospital and got his meds. I have the pharmacy receipts, the lab results, I have conclusive evidence, overwhelming evidence that this doctor's lied. Now, the excuses that she was giving to CPS was not the same excuse that she gave the court, saying that I said. So a doctor here can just simply say that you said something and that makes it all better. And they take your son, even though the jury gives you joint custody, they still take your son from you and won't allow you to see him anymore. For no reason at all. None. They stole my son, Dalton Jeffrey Peters. These criminals and this close network of cover-ups has to be exposed in the state of Texas. It goes all the way up to the Governor Rick Perry, who's getting the donations from these hospitals to protect them. Why else would hospitals make donations to governors if they weren't wanting protection from malpractice, from such circumstances when they falsify your son's medical record and blatantly go to court and tell the same lie? Dr. Zoanne Dreyer faxed that lie at 6:30 something in the morning of the temporary custody hearings to my wife's attorney to take my son. This corruption and this evidence needs to come out in a court of law here in Houston, Texas, and I'm asking for your donations to expose this system of cover-ups, to get these criminals out of our hospitals, to stop them from covering up for themselves when they make mistakes like the rest of us. This is organized crime, organized cover-ups. And here in the state of Texas, it goes all the way to the Governor Rick Perry's office. Now, I call Rick Perry a child molester, and that's exactly what he is. When you take from a boy his father, who's done nothing wrong, and never let that boy who's dying of cancer see his father again. They expect me to just turn my back and walk away after they stole everything that I've owned. And I won't allow that. They can steal my land, my money, and my home, but they're not going to get away with stealing my son. I'm asking for your donations to take this to court, bring my evidence to court, and bust up this organized cover-up. We can't allow the Texas Medical Board, Governor Rick Perry, to do this for favoritism, for campaign donations. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. The old boys' school ways. We have to stop this now. Stop corruption in Texas. Donate to Michael Peters, and I'll bring my evidence to court, and hopefully the media will bring their cameras, and we'll get to the bottom of this. In the meantime, I'm calling Governor Rick Perry a child molester, Dr. Ziefler, in charge of the medical board, is a child molester, Dr. Zoanne Dreyer at Texas Children's Hospital is a child molester. The administrations of Baylor and Texas Children's Hospital molest children. And they have to stop manipulating CPS or trying to and falsifying medical records to stop lawsuits against them. God bless you. My name is Michael Jeffrey Peters. I'm fighting for Texas.